So in this video, I'm going to share with you 6 tips for healing from your painful past. Now, a lot of us had difficult childhoods. We have these childhood wounds and trauma, and we carry these around with us in our bodies, in our energy field, and in our subconscious minds. And they affect our life many years later as an adult. They're affecting our life, and a lot of people don't actually have the self-awareness that it's affecting their life. It wasn't until I had a spiritual awakening, I realized the truth that we're an energetic being that's having a human experience. And as an energetic being, we are creating our own realities based off the energy we're embodying. And once I woke up and realized this, then I learned that we're carrying a lot of rubbish in our energy field from our childhood, from having these unhealed wounds and trauma. And so when you have a spiritual awakening, you end up on the spiritual journey, and then you end up on a healing journey because you realize the importance of healing and cleaning up your energy. So another great reason we want to do this sort of healing work is because we have what's called the scale of consciousness. When we were born, we came in on the love frequency, which vibrates at 500. So our natural state of being is high vibrational. But a lot of us are operating in these lower frequencies. And that's because we come in on this planet, we have so much, things that happen, negative situations, we may experience abuse and neglect and things like that, that pull our vibration down into lower frequencies. So as we heal ourselves and we release it from the energy field, we have a transformation because your energy has this transformation because you've healed it and released it from your energy. And so because your energy's had this transformation, you can create a better reality for yourself because your energy is what's creating your reality. And so when we heal ourselves, we naturally start going back up that scale of consciousness into higher frequencies. So this is why it's really beneficial to do this sort of work. We can create these amazing, magical lives for ourselves when we're operating in these higher frequencies. So now we're going to get into the 6 tips. And the first tip, kicked my board. The first tip is to acknowledge that you need healing. Because I think that there's a lot of people that don't realize they need healing. A lot of people don't realize they're energetic beings that are creating their own realities. And a lot of people are just carrying this stuff around in their energy field, and they also project it onto others. And they don't have the awareness that they're even doing that. So the first step, acknowledge you need healing. Realize, I've got I've had a painful childhood. There's things there that I need to heal. The second tip is to change the meaning. So what I mean by that is nothing in life has any built-in meaning. Everything is neutral. You're the one that's giving it the meaning, right? So we've got neutrality on the scale of consciousness that vibrates at 250. That's where you just see everything is just neutral. And so you're the one that's giving it the meaning, right? So when something happens in your past, something that caused you pain, you gave that a certain meaning. And for example, I had, a difficult childhood. My childhood was different to my siblings. I always noticed that as a kid. It was like, why is my life so much harder than my siblings? It was just weird. But I went through a lot of pain in my childhood, and the meaning I gave it was that I was the reject of the family. There's something wrong with me. I had all these self-limiting beliefs. I'm not worthy. And I realized, after having the spiritual awakening and being on this healing journey, I realized that even though it was difficult having that sort of childhood where I had a lot of different childhood wounds and trauma and different things going on, I realized that that is what led me to have a spiritual awakening. So I changed the meaning from being this poor little victim, treated like a reject, and instead it was like, oh no, I came here to have that experience, because we choose everything in our life in the spirit world before we come here. So I chose to have that difficult childhood. And that's what led me to have the spiritual awakening. Because you don't have spiritual awakenings when you have an easy life. You know, if it's like rainbows and unicorns and everything's just easy, you don't know struggle or hardships. Spiritual awakenings normally come from suffering and pain. So I changed the meaning. I realized it served me. I'm the only one in my family that's had a spiritual awakening, and I understand the bigger picture of things here on this planet. Whereas my family don't, but I talk to them about it and they're open to listening because they have that respect to listen, but at the same time, it's still not quite registering with them. Like they're still not quite grasping what I'm saying because they haven't had the spiritual awakening. So you can look at these situations, these painful things that happened in the past, and change the meaning. Another example was my dad wasn't around growing up. He physically abandoned me and my brothers, and he lived in a different country. I changed the meaning to, because I used to be, pissed off about it, like, fuck you for leaving. And I changed the meaning to, it was actually a good thing he wasn't around because he was a very abusive, angry person because of his own childhood wounds. So changing the meaning is really powerful when you look at it from a different perspective and it's like, oh, this actually served me in some type of way. Then you're able to get to that place of being able to be okay with it and letting it go. The third step is forgiveness, right? So you can get to a place of forgiveness by changing the meaning. I forgave my dad because I changed the meaning about him not being around, him abandoning us, because I realized my dad had a really bad childhood and he has a lot of unhealed wounds, and I looked at him with love and compassion instead. So changing the meaning can help you get to that place of forgiveness, and realize this: forgiveness is for you, it is not for the other person. Forgiveness is a way that we can release this trapped energy, because when you're clinging on to anger and resentment because someone's done you wrong, they've hurt you in some type of way, and you're like, fuck you to that person, you have this anger and resentment, you're clinging on to it, that's in your body and in your energy field and in your subconscious, that's affecting you. It doesn't affect the person that hurt you. It's been scientifically proven that if we store these emotions in the body, it creates disease and illness. So this is why forgiveness is really important. It's a way to release these things from our energy field, from our subconscious mind, from our bodies, and then it won't be there to create, illness and disease. But forgiveness can be a process as well. It can be something that you kind of have to work through, and use number 2, change the meaning of things so that you can learn to forgive people. And you will notice when you do forgive people, you will notice it leave like your energy field. You'll feel lighter, you'll feel so much better for it, and it'll help your vibration naturally start raising back up. Number 4 is inner child healing. So a lot of our issues stem from childhood, and we grow up as adults, we're carrying it all around with us, we're projecting it onto others, we don't even realize we're doing that. So it's essential to revisit our childhood to heal ourselves. And I have a video on my channel that teaches you how to do inner child healing. So I will link that video at the end of this one so you can check that one out. But this is really powerful stuff. When we revisit our childhood, we heal our little child, like our inner child. So in case if you don't know, we all have an inner child that resides within us. Doesn't matter how old we get, we always have our inner child with us. And so it's really powerful to give our inner child that attention and to heal it. And that's what's going to help transform your life. Number 5 is shadow work. So shadow work, we all have a shadow part of ourselves, right? And the shadow part of ourselves is the unconscious part of ourselves. So shadow work is the process of exploring your inner darkness or shadow self. Your shadow is, it's the part of you that's unconscious, and when you do shadow work, you want to make the unconscious part of you conscious. That's how you develop the awareness, right? Awareness is key. So awareness is 90% of transformation. Just by becoming aware of your shadow, becoming aware of these wounds that we have, you're already 90% there with having a transformation. You've just got a little bit of 10% of work to do, and to have that full transformation. And when you do, your whole energy shifts. So shadow work uncovers every part of you that has been disowned, repressed, and rejected. And we become conscious of it, and then we integrate it. And that is a really great way to heal ourselves, to have this transformation in our energy. And shadow work also requires us to have to revisit childhood. So shadow work and inner child healing go together. And so I'll give you an example of how to do shadow work. So for example, when you're triggered, you have this emotional reaction. That trigger is the clue to what needs to be healed within you. So someone's triggered you, you look at the trigger as your friend because it's teaching you something, and start working with that trigger like, okay, why am I triggered right now? Why am I feeling like this? Do some emotional inquiry, dig into yourself, question it all. Then you'll start becoming aware, and you'll start making these realizations like, oh, this is why I'm reacting like this. Awareness is key, right? Awareness is 90% of transformation. So by doing that, digging into ourselves, we become aware, and that's where the power is. We're almost to having that transformation. We're so close. So this is really powerful stuff. This sort of work will change your life. And the last one is number 6, deep inner healing. Deep inner healing is when we go a bit deeper, because we store a lot in the body and in the nervous system and in the subconscious. So I'll give you some examples of deep inner healing. This could be things like somatic breath work. I just did a somatic breath work session this morning at 4 a.m. So at the moment, I'm doing a course. I'm doing a 1-week challenge, and it's Emotional Freedom Challenge. And today we're on day 3. And so because I'm in New Zealand and they're in America, it was 4 a.m. here. So I was up at 4 a.m. and we had this somatic breathwork session that was run by Victor Odo and his wife Patty. So Victor Odo is a really great guy, great YouTuber, spiritual coach, and he's coaching me as well as a whole bunch of other people with our YouTube channels. And so breathwork is a way that you can release the stored emotions and trauma from the body. It's using the breath in a specific type of way. It goes for, like, Victor and Patty, they kind of do it like it's like a ceremony type thing that goes for about an hour and a half, and it's a really incredible experience. And what ends up happening is you're using your breath, you can, like, the trapped emotions and trauma will start coming out, but it will come out in ways like, it could be crying, it could be screaming, it could be shaking, it could be laughing. And that's the trauma and emotions releasing from the body. Another example of deep inner healing is, things like going to see like an energy healer and getting them to work with your energy field and your chakras. You could do QHHT, which is quantum hypnosis healing technique. So I'm planning to do that either this year or next year. I want to do a QHHT session. That's where they put you in a really deep hypnosis type state, and they speak to your subconscious mind and the super consciousness, and you can have this information coming through, like really incredible information, and you can get healing and questions around your healing. Like, you can ask questions about, like, why do I feel like this, or how do I get rid of this issue that I've got. So that's another really great way to go deeper. There's things like EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. That's where you use tapping in certain spots like the third eye, your cheek, temple, and it's a way to release stored emotions. So there's heaps of different examples of doing this deep inner healing work. There's things like plant medicines, like ayahuasca. So that's another thing I want to do one day, although we can't do it here in New Zealand, so I have to travel for it. But they do ayahuasca retreats. So it's a plant medicine you drink. It's like a 12-hour thing, but you go real deep into the subconscious, and because there's things really deep in there. Like, we're carrying things around that isn't even our stuff. We're carrying things around that could be from past lives or from our ancestors. So you can go really deep with ayahuasca into the subconscious and get some really deep healing done there. So those are my 6 tips. This is really beneficial work. This is transformative work, because again, your energy, the energy you're embodying, is what's creating your reality. And so if you're carrying a lot of these wounds, unhealed wounds and trauma and pain, that's is going to contribute to what you're going to experience in your reality. But when you do this sort of work, it's basically like cleaning up your energy, cleaning up your energy field in your aura and the subconscious mind, and releasing these things from the body. And that's when you end up having this transformation. And then once you have the transformation, the outer reality will change, because the outer reality is just a reflection of your inner world. So this is why it's just really beneficial to do this work. I hope you like this video, guys. If you did, let me know by smashing that like button or write a comment. And if you like this sort of content, then subscribe and hit that bell notification. I'm going to leave the video here on how to do inner child healing, so check that one out. And I hope you have an awesome day. Peace.